Hey guys, welcome back. Lucid, and it's turn 64 in the Crucible. Let's hop into it. If you recall, last episode, we basically had kind of drawn a line with we're not going to go any farther than this attacking Marignon, and instead we started the war against Agartha, and we issued a ton of attack orders. And I'm assuming that you were sitting on the edge of your seat between the last episode and now wondering, how will my attacks on Agartha go? And I was wondering the same thing, so let's find out. We get a Wraithlord, and Wraithlords are going to be pretty clutch for us. There's some of those death spells that you just gotta get off, and Wraithlords are a great option to do that. The high base armor on them is going to make them resistant to a lot of the fire stuff. And then if we throw on any anti-fire gear, they're going to be very, very durable throughout the course of a fight. They also are going to be great at leading undead. So all in all, not a bad way to spend death gems. They are expensive at 50. But sometimes when you want to be 100% sure that life after death is going to go off, and you don't want to have to script it 6 times in one battle, you know, Wraithlord Skullstaff with a little fire resistance, boom. Anyway, we've gotten some blood slaves. You can see we actually have a decent blood economy. 30 in this turn. Not bad. A battle in Pangaea. Okay, let's check this out. He said he's more or less going to not defend Pangaea. Let's see exactly what that means. Okay, this is more or less not defending. It's a bunch of preachers who are going to try to banish me. And then a shit ton of PD. But we're dropping some big stuff. We got Army of Gold. I don't know if we got anti-magic off. Does not look like it. There goes Fog Warriors. No anti-magic yet. But we do have Protection of the Sepulchre coming down, so some of these guys are going to get their MR buffed up. Okay, we're not. There goes Mass Flight, so our skeletons are falling from the sky, as they should. Okay, so we killed the little army outside of Pangaea. And then... okay, so now this is basically all of the raiding. And we're going to click on it and just see kind of what the score count is for raids successful versus raids blocked, and then we're going to watch any big battles. So, raid 1 is successful. Raid 2 is successful, so we're 2 for 2. Raid 3 was successful, though we suffered a fair amount of attrition, but we killed a fair amount of stuff too. So we're 3 for 3. Raid 4 was successful, so we're 4 for 4. Raid 5 was successful, so we're 5 for 5. Raid 6 was successful, so we're 6 for 6. Raid 7 was successful, so we're 7 for 7. Raid 8, also successful. We are now 8 for 8. Raid 9 was successful, so we are 9 for 9. Raid 10, also successful, so we're 10 for 10. Raid 11 is successful, so that's 11. And the final one for Agartha is 12, and so we are 12 for 12, guys. It is not rare, or it is not often that you are 12 for 12. Anyway, I don't know if that came as a shock to Agartha. Certainly he knows that I'm not going to let him sit on Marignon's lands for a long time, but it was probably shocking to lose this much all in one turn. It's probably as much as I've ever successfully raided in one turn. Especially, it cost me nothing. It's kind of amazing. Okay, so we raided Marignon also. Agartha is attacking Marignon with a very high commitment attack and doesn't lose much. And then Abyssia is attacking Marignon and takes this province also. So, no big battles, but a lot of property changed hands. Let's see now, too, what I've got going on. Deathlord, he's researching. Okay. So there's a few things happening. This Wraithlord I just summoned, I'm sending him up this way. I'm also gradually getting more pearls, and I'm kind of waiting. It's going to be With Agartha as big as he is, I'm not going to just gradually roll over him. It's going to be a fight, and one thing that's definitely going to help me is with him relying so much on summons is having Arcane Nexus up. If I can put those Astral Pearls to good use, we will be in good shape. It will also hopefully discourage ubiquitous flames from the skying, as we have been seeing. So let's take a look real quick at the score graphs. We haven't looked at those in a while. So here was our initial expansion. Here was the grindy phase with Yis, where we gradually started winning, and then I picked up Satissa's stuff. And so that was kind of going good. And then this has been the very, very choppy Marinese War, right? And that was kind of going good, but with lots of attrition. And now we are starting to go to war with Agartha. And look at that, turn 1, boom. Forts, a different story, a much more steady upward climb. Income, you can see these past 10 turns have been quite good for us in terms of income. Gym income, boom, nice. Research, not looking bad. Dominion, not looking bad. Army size, looking pretty good. And then ascension points, we're right up there with Agartha. But Agartha has a bunch of thrones which he has not claimed yet. And he has plenty of Holy 3, so he doesn't need to claim them one at a time. He can kind of do them all in one turn. Check these events out really quick. Nothing super important here on the event front. So let's talk about what we got going on. We are going to move a bunch more troops in here, and I'm going to try to pop this fort. I don't know if Agartha is going to say hi, but I'm expecting he won't. He probably is more worried about Marion. I also thought I probably would move a scout here so I can see what the hell is going on. Yeah, because I don't have one there now. But we're going to move more troops in, more mages. I've got enough gems where I can keep doing Army of Gold and stuff like that with my Troll King. And we're going to get another big raiding party ready up here, so I'm moving in some mages this way. We're sending a small raiding party up here onto this. And then this raiding party, I'm not exactly sure where we're going to go. Let's take a look real quick and see what we got. So, okay, this is a magma cave. That's a nice province. This one has a burial mound and an ancient temple. Not bad. This one, Sun Ridge and a gem deposit. This one, a turtle village and a vaults beneath. Not as great. This one doesn't have much. The lakes, we've got the basalt statue, which we've known about all game. Here we've got the clam field and the submerged catacombs. So, we're basically going to keep rolling with the raiding. We're going to raid here, we're raiding inland. You can see I'm basically avoiding the forts for now. Because my mages are kind of all spoken for. Like, all I have up in this area are mostly priests. My mages, like, where's this guy going? So I am moving a small mage corps down here. And this is really where I'm getting into kind of efficient raiding. This is a little bit imbalanced, but okay, very imbalanced. But 2 guys as slaves, once I put Power of the Spheres up, can support... They can support these guys for a while, but not quite long enough. So they're going to pop if they get attacked. But we're going to be doing, I think, a lot of smaller communions as part of our raids. We have a lot of our key research done. So, yeah, we're going to be doing enough to get... let's pull up one of my mages real quick. The important things to get off are Power of the Sepulchre. What, do I not even see it coming up here? Okay, I think this is just kind of like unscripted at the moment, but Power of the Sepulchre, the Holy 4 version, we definitely want to get off. And if I have 4 dudes then as slaves, then one of these guys can get it off. So that's probably the kind of ratio I should be doing, is like using 5 guys, 4 as slaves, one of these guys to get it off. Though, once you have this many slaves, you could easily throw another 4 on, and they could all serve as masters to spam out Horde of Skeleton if you were putting Power of the Spheres up on all the slaves. So, but we'll be doing a lot of that, and it's going to be different ratios. If we have one of our Holy 3 dudes, we only need 2 slaves. And I'm going to try to start spreading Agartha. Okay, my mouth isn't working. I'm going to try to spread Agartha out. So we're going to see if that works. You can also see I'm being a little lazy just by looking at how many arrows there are on the map. I need to be shuffling a lot of these troops around, and I'm kind of just letting them build up. And a lot of that, again, is this bad... my bad Sceleria build where I don't have Undead Command, which I think is absolutely prerequisite. It's almost just like more trouble than it's worth to move all these guys around. I'll start moving them around later, but anyway, just know this is bad form. But if I were playing more optimally, I would be moving a lot more troops to my important borders. And you can argue this is an important border. I don't want to take them off the Abyssian border. But I do want to move, start shuttling hundreds or thousands of undead up this way towards Agartha, and then over this way towards Agartha. And I'm going to start doing more of that, but the map should be much more busy with troop movement than it is. So anyway, that is this turn. We'll go ahead and pull up the next turn, and we'll see if we have some good battles. So that was turn 64. Let's check out 65. We contact Naiad. Now, this is important to get me water access. So we got a Naiad, so we can now give her the Robe of the Sea and a water bracelet, and she can now do summon Queen of Water Elementals and things like that. So she's a pretty critical step to climbing the water ladder, and you can do it if you have Jade Amazons, or the Jade Sorceresses. So I chose to summon her in the water because I know I want to get Queen Water Elementals with her. And yeah, they can only do it in the water, and Naiads have homesickness. So you want to think about where you summon them, and you want to put them in a province where you want them to be casting their shit. So whether it's on land or in the water, etc. More Blood Slaves, about 30 more this turn. There's a bunch of raids. We'll just click on them. We'll see if it works. So this one we take. Okay, we've got a big battle here. Let's go check this out. Where is this? Okay, so this is the fort near the small island, so north of the big Marinese Island. And I had moved a few small dudes in, and I kind of talked about this last episode, but I had raided it with a few small dudes, and next to it, I had moved my big army. And I knew that the next turn, Agartha would try to kick my dudes off that fort, but he was probably going to expect I only had my raiders there, which would just be 200 or 300 at Long Dead. But instead, I moved in a full commitment army, right? So I've got a lot of mages, as well as my Vampire Lord, some things he may not be expecting, and things are about to get crazy. So this is cue the Valhalla music. So there goes armies of gold. The other thing is these Mercury elementals are not going to, or the living Mercuries are not going to do that much against my skeletons, because we definitely don't care about the poison. You can see Blade Storms coming out, but because I already have Army of Gold up, the Blade Storms do almost literally nothing except fatigue their mages out. Banishment, on the other hand, I believe is armor negating if it passes the MR check, so that's more effective. Okay, we have fire resistance. We're susceptible to shock, but I don't think he has much in the way of air magic in this army. He does have a Queen of Air Elementals, which he will shuffle around. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the battle speed here. The other thing I want you to notice is I don't have Rigor Mortis up, and that's because I do... When you bring in this many mages, you definitely do not want Rigor Mortis up. Or not definitely, you probably do not. What's up? We have Rain, Relief, and Mass Regeneration is out. I also have, it looks like Aerofend up, though that's not going to do much in this case. I mean, it will also help against Blade Winds, but that's not very impactful with Army of Gold up, so that's probably just me casting something. Importantly, you see our skeletons are flanking. A lot of them are scripted to attack rear, and they are making it around the Agarthan flanks. And this is really important, because you can see these living Mercuries, they don't have regeneration, and they are getting chipped down. Like, you can see they're kind of very slowly dying, but very slowly. And so that's giving his mages a lot of time to hit me in the back, or to hit me from the back. But because we have them on attack rear, some of these squads are managing to flank. And the problem is, once they get around the sides, they're very difficult to kill, because they've got 20 protection on the unarmored varieties. The armored varieties have 22 or more. Like, let's see if we find some of our, like, more elite skeletons, like this guy. 28 protection on a chaff unit. That's pretty phenomenal. Nothing's going to be killing him super soon. I do not think I have Fog Warriors on this army, even though I probably could have put it up. I don't. That would have lowered my attrition. And I think we're going to pick it up one more notch, too, in terms of speed. Now, let's talk for a hot minute about the significance of this battle. This is his only big battle, this is his only big army that can defend the small island flank. So if I kill this, it opens up a ton of his infrastructure to raiding. One of the kind of rock, paper, scissors things in Dominions 2 is once you take a large army off the map, you, as the winner, right, you are left with a ton of options for raiding, because while there's a large army on the map, you have to be very careful about moving medium commitment raids around, which would, for example, kill small commitment counter raids or attacks. Once you take out a large army, though, it's going to open up a ton of different medium commitment raids, which previously you might not have wanted to use, because if a medium commitment raid bumps into his large army, you're going to lose all the mages you had in that. So killing this is going to open up a lot of options for me. And you can see now that he's routed, all of his statues are disappearing, and then we have some guys running after him. This is one of my Bane commanders that apparently decided he wanted to not let the skeletons have all the fun. We probably got some kills there, actually. Okay, so not a bad battle to start this off, this turn off. We kill most of the Golem Crafters, not all of them. And retreat details. Who retreated? Some of my guys retreated too. That's unfortunate. Okay, I lost actually a lot, and I didn't actually see that happening. Wait, how did I lose everything? What the hell? I think we actually have to watch this again, guys. I'm going to put it in, like, super fast mode. Because it's saying I lost everything, and I'm just going to tell you it did not look like I lost everything. Okay, so one possibility is a lot of my stuff in the front line actually dies, and then it's just replenished by all the skeletons, so it doesn't look like I lost everything. On the back, let's see if my guys rout. I think my slaves do get used up here. Do we have any slaves left? Yeah, we do. They haven't even changed form yet. Okay, so one of the problems when you come back so far after the actual turn is this is a different version of the game. So that could be what's responsible for giving us a very different kind of battle replay here, because this one went way differently. But anyway, high attrition on both sides, and I think I have a slightly better economy, so probably okay to trade. Let's keep watching here. We have another successful raid. Another successful raid. Another successful raid. Agartha took back one of our provinces. We forgot to put PD in, so we can't see that. And then another successful raid. Agartha does take this back with some golem crafters. Let's see what he used here. I don't know if they summoned earth elementals. Yeah, okay, so living earth. Pretty good little counter-raiding squad with mages. I think that was this battle. Yeah, okay. So coming down, another successful raid. Agartha raids us, and he fails, actually, so we'll watch this. I think this was actually... Yeah, this was where I had that unbalanced mage script that we looked at earlier. Where I had 4 masters and 2 slaves. So I think my slaves die here, is basically the short of it. And he brought some stuff, but not enough. And that's one of the things, when you have so many different resources for raiding... Okay, my slaves just died. But when you have so many resources for raiding, you put a lot of pressure on your opponent to counter-raid and take those lands back. And if you know that they're doing that, it's very easy for you to intercept those counter-raiding forces. Because you know they're going to be doing it. And you know, especially in certain provinces, you know they're probably not going to be doing high-commitment counter-raids, right? So if you move like a medium-commitment army in, it's very easy to take that out. So that was what we had here, where we killed actually a fair amount of stuff. A few of the golem crafters and a bunch of their summons, which actually require gems, and it only cost us 2 mages and some chaff. And I'm pretty sure we have significantly more forts than Agartha, so we're probably happy to trade mages out with him. Coming down to Strongdale, he kills my 2 PD. Okay, we've got a battle here. I think this is a medium raid from me, running into a medium army for him. Oh no, this is a medium-large army for him, because we've got some important mage support like a Fairy Queen. And this is not going to go well for us. Okay, so he's got Mass Flight and drops in on my Mage Corps. So Agartha says, okay, you're doing Mass Flight, I can do that as well. And that... yeah, so that's this battle. You can see he loses almost nothing. Oh. Except... Let's watch that again, guys. Whoops. So look who we have here. Old Porlock the Frostfather. Let's see what he's going to cast, because I think he actually kills himself. Summon Earth Power. 0 hit points. How do you have 0 hit points, bro? Oh, he's Undying 6, though. He's in Friendly Dominion. Not sure how he has 0 hit points. What you gonna cast? Army of Lead. Nice. Still at 0. What's your fatigue at? 96. I don't know how are you gonna die, dude? Will of Fates, that's a pretty big spell. Okay, you're at -5. Whew. Okay. Yeah, Will of Fates, that's a very high fatigue spell, and he's probably... Is he in Drain Dominion? Let's look at his MR. Are we in Drain here? Does not appear so. But yeah, he killed himself with that. Went way over his 200 fatigue maximum, and poop. So he's -5, but that means he will die after the battle because he is not an undead unit. So that's kind of like a whoops. I don't think he has anything incarnate. Let's see. What did he have for Earth? Because that was the one it looked like might have been. Reconstruction. I can't remember if that's incarnate. Might be. So, okay, what looked like a disaster for us, and that we lost, 4 Mountain Kings and some chat. Not a disaster, but, a loss for sure. Actually turns out to be a win, because we take his Frost Father down. And let's go back and check that again, because not only do I enjoy watching it every time, but he may have also had a global enchantment up, which is what I want to check for. He did! He had a global enchantment! Okay, let's see which one it was. Earthblood Deepwell is the only one he has up now, so let's see what it was. Mother Oak. Okay. Rip Mother Oak. So, that was very nice for me. And then coming on down here, we have a raid where we're successful. And here, we've got a raid where he takes something back. We are getting hit by Purgatory a bit, and then for events, this is actually good for us. The Throne of Night has been invoked, so days will grow dimmer. Getting hit by a hurricane in Pangea. That's probably the nefarious activity of one of the players, I'm not sure who. And that is that. So let's take a look at the board. We've got ever-increasing rating. I expect, after just having talked through all that, that our province count has gone up again, but you can see not nearly as much as before. But what that means is we were able to at least keep, on average, all the land we took the turn before, and claim a little bit more. So it could be way worse. And we killed his pretender, and we annihilated a reasonably large army here, even though in the battle report it says we lost all our dudes too. So there's that. Now, this army is probably not shipshape to bust any forts over, so we're basically going to be doing a ton of raiding again. And the really nice thing about Sceleria is if you have a very large front war, it's going to be very efficient or very difficult for people to win, because you can raid everything. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to raid here with a medium commitment attack. We're not doing anything here, and we're not doing anything here. We're leaving these forts basically undone. Though this fort, which we just put up, we are building a fortress. It's almost done. We're putting a temple up here. And I'm going to definitely try to push my infrastructure in this weak point in the Agarthan formation. Right, so we're going to try to take all this. I think this is the area where I'm going to be able to actually push through. But because this army died, it's going to be a turn or two. So we've got some mages moving in from up here. Where are you guys? Okay, and these guys are moving down. And shortly they'll continue to move on this way. We're also casting Curse of Blood to get our blood economy going a bit better. What else? Up here, we are continuing to raid. We're going to be combining all these guys down here. And there's a temple in this, so that's an extra kind of high reward, taking this temple. And we only kind of have predictable moves here too, so when it's a predictable move and it doesn't look like he has enough, he has enough to kill either one of these groups if he moved, let's say, all these guys from this fort down here, but he probably doesn't have enough to kill both, so we're going to kind of combine those and move those together. This is where we had a reasonably large battle too, or, well, a medium battle, right, where we killed some of his counter-raiders. We're going to be doubling down here. We're going to send a lot more mages in, right? A lot of mages. And a fair amount of skeletons, but not a ton. Just a few hundred. Meanwhile, these guys are going to be moving up and raiding here. We're going to be using our priests. They're kind of lousy undead leaders, but we've got to put them to use, and I've got some issues, obviously, with an undead build-up that I'm not really using. Which, by the way, if you play Sceleria, this is not a sign of health. This is a sign of either laziness or poor planning, or both. One thing you'll notice is we're not really attacking Agartha on this front, which is our oldest border. Part of it is just because I don't have any of the key ingredients I need to win a Heart of Garthan fight here. The things I'm limited in terms of the number of major attacks that I can make are I'm limited by the number of Earth Mages I have, which I don't have many of. And I'm limited by the number of Air Mages I have, which I'm kind of cap-only limited there. I have to wage to get an air random out of my cap. Now, some of those things can change, because I know that this is a Crystal Amazon province, right? You can see some of that here with, like, Pegasus Riders and things like that. So I do want to take this, but I don't really have the tools to take it yet. And what do we have here? I'm trying to think. I think at some point I find an Earth site in some of the raided lands. I want to see if that's here. Yeah, not yet. Oh, this is a nice province. Ooh, man. 6-gem province? Not bad. Not forted up either. We are checking this, so we've got just the tiniest little squad that managed to raid on top of it. We're going to move in a lot more dudes with some mage support. And hopefully if he sends a small group out to take this small raiding squad off, we will take it out. And that's one of the things that's really hard. Like Agartha, if you got attacked by this and you had just these few guys, like here's the group that raided him, what would you send out to fight this off? Well, you could commit 20 mages to killing 4 guys, or maybe I just move them off and I leave 1 skeleton on top, and then you wasted 20 mage turns. But, maybe I come in with a reasonably large committed army, right, where I'm going to have a ton of Skele spam, Power of the Sepulchre, Power of the Spheres coming out, Life After Death. Okay, it doesn't look like I'm casting Life After Death, but I could have. So anyway, we'll do that. We're also moving a reasonably large size force here, or like a medium sized force with decent mage support, because I'm really sensing this is a big weak part in the Agarthan Empire, so we're just going to push our way in there. On top of this fort, I'm moving in everything I can, and I actually can move in some troops, a fair number of troops, all the way from here, because there's a road that marches its way down on top of this fort, and because I control it, you don't get the movement penalty for moving into an enemy fort. So we have some pretty massive logistics where we're moving in a ton of mages on top of this fort, as well as some of the trolls we have from before. And I think, what do we have? We've got Relief, Warriors of Niflheim to give that fire resistance. I don't think I have air magic here, but I do have Mass Flight and Fog Warriors. And then I don't think I'm going to, because I'm probably going to be fighting the little Magma Children, but I could have done Mass Protection, but that would have been a bad idea. So, anyway, a bunch of dudes coming on here, and they are going to probably pop this fort this turn. And then, because I have an air mage there with Mass Flight, it's very easy for me to break sieges. Whereas normally, if you're fighting Agartha, they can clog up the entryway for forts with very high protection units, and it can take a really long time. So, we're trying to bust through right here. And we're kind of at a standstill over here where I don't have the right mages to bust through. That said, we are patrolling with a fair amount of dudes, and the dudes we're patrolling with are basically going to do a little skeleton communion, and it will prevent low commitment attacks from killing me. Or from kind of breaking into this fort. Because then, that's kind of one of the things, is if you force a certain kind of commitment attack on top of your fort, then you don't have to deal with all this guesswork, like here, where I raided him with almost nothing, and now he has to decide, do I want to lose this whole fort protection, or do I want to bust out with my whole mage corps? But anyway, there's no right answers on all this. Here you can see we are doing our very typical leave 1 skeleton behind and bounce off onto another fort. This is actually, I think, where we were having people die in Purgatory. This is Abyssia's Dominion, so not a good place for skeletons. And we're checking this fort with a reasonably large commitment mage attack. Or this is like my medium commitment attack. And you can see some sloppiness here, like Power of the Spheres, but no Astral Pearl. Whoops. Okay, there's something else to talk about, guys. Look, my Astral Pearl bank is empty, and so are most of my other gem banks. I can tell you what that means. I know what that means. You're probably guessing. What does this mean? Well, let's scroll down. Somebody has put on the Ring of Sorcery, and they're casting Arcane Nexus. And let's go and see how many gems we're putting into it. 370, so I definitely outcomized some. And that's going to be an overcast of 220. Which is not a huge overcast. But the way I look at it is if somebody wants to ping you to see, okay, did you overcast, especially on a spell like Arcane Nexus, they're probably not going to do like 30 over, because they're going to know you're going to overcast it by more than 30. So they're probably going to do like, but they're not going to want to do like 500, because that's a, what if I only put 30 in, I only overcast it by 30? They're going to waste a ton of pearls. So sometimes I'm kind of random in how I do it, but and sometimes I will just drop it at the bare minimum and then say, okay, by the time you dispel it, you're going to overcast by a lot, and then the second time I'll put it up with a ton. This time we're just going to do the middle of the road, right? We're going to do 220 overcast, which it's going to be a kind of hard number for somebody to guess, right? Because you have to guess, I think they put more than 100, and they probably put more than 200, but I think they put less than 300. I mean, how do you know? You really can't. So, anyway, that's enough to probably keep Arcane Nexus up for a good long time, and that will make me happy. And that's important. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do with Arcane Nexus. I'm not totally sure. I have some ideas. I think I want some of the Seraphs, which are the really good... some people use them as super combatants, but that's kind of a waste. I really want a flying high air chassis that I don't have to worry about dying. And he can just fly in and do some pretty massive air fire astral support on key armies that will not be predicted. So having him with Boots of Quickness jumping around the map is probably the way I want to do it. I can also make golems, but I'm not sure if I want to do a lot of that. I probably want a couple golems to be like special forces and take out some key armies that I've kitted them up for. So we'll see what I use, but basically it's probably going to be golems and wishing. Wishing is a little wasteful. Golems are much more efficient, but I do think I have some things I do want to wish for. So anyway, that is it. You can see how terrifying it is to kind of fight me. Like, the amount of pressure I'm putting on Agartha is pretty huge at this point. So I think with that, we'll call it an end to this episode. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stay tuned for next episode, which will be turn 66. So thank you guys. Take care.